I'm Tatiana Anderson, and I am joined by Kristen Reef. She is the Director of Illicit Trade Prevention at Philip Morris International, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So you obviously work in preventing illicit trade. Tell us a little bit about how you do that for Philip Morris.
It is so exciting what we get to do every day. We literally get to chase bad guys who are counterfeiting and contraband and smuggling. We mostly focus on, or we've initially focused on, the counterfeit and contraband of tobacco products because that is the business we're protecting. But what we've seen is that this spills over and there is convergence with so many other illicit activities, whether it be drugs or guns or money laundering or even human trafficking.
When you mentioned tobacco, this is one of the things that you're trying to combat, but this isn't a new space for the company at all. And I'm wondering if you can tell us a little bit about the work you were doing before the pandemic.
Yeah, before the pandemic, when we were a bit more focused on our own product industry and category, it was dealing with the counterfeit of cigarettes and other tobacco products. So literally violating our trademarks and copycatting those brands. It was also, though, combating against smuggling that occurs. And really, that problem occurs because criminals see an opportunity to go from where the price is low to where the price is high, and then they keep the difference.
We know that the pandemic really led to high demand on a lot of different goods. Suppliers couldn't keep up. Counterfeits and knockoffs jumped. What was your role in working with the federal government to prevent some of this?
I think we were really well positioned at the beginning of the pandemic because of the previous work we've done in combating illicit trade and smuggling routes and networks and the like. And so when the pandemic came, we were engaging with counterparts and law enforcement from the federal government on down. And one day we were fortunate enough to be sitting around with Department of Homeland Security and asking them, what can we do? How can we help? We feel powerless, helpless, just like anybody else, but we've got some resources, we've got some know-how. And they said, hey, do what you do best. You chase guys who are counterfeiting and contrabanding cigarettes and tobacco. Well, bad guys are doing that now, but it's just with N95 masks. And it's with products that are scarce, like hand sanitizer and some of the cleaning supplies. You couldn't find these on the shelves. And people were sitting at home, they were in front of their laptops, they were scared, they were looking for products to protect themselves and their families. And what did they find? Well, they didn't find what they were looking for. Criminals were waiting for them. And whether it was sending them counterfeit or faulty products, or whether it was just taking their credit card information, taking their money, and not delivering any products in return, criminals were taking advantage of the situation.
What would you say the biggest market for illicit goods is? And is your effort to sort of curb this different here in the U.S. As opposed to a different port of call in another country?
Unfortunately, the biggest market for illicit goods is also the biggest market for legal goods, and that's online. And where we are now in terms of the combating these issues really is trying to create additional transparency in online platforms. I don't believe that the online platforms want those to be misused or abused in any way either, but it is an enormous task because so many goods are flowing to and from on those.